Hi guys, Michelle from Michelle's Craft Corner here. I'm a local Orlando area demonstrator, and I, along with all the other Florida demonstrators, are super excited about Onstage in our own backyard coming up so soon. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I'm the crazy demonstrator that does the light up cards, and of course it's not wanting to work when I grab it. Come on. Alright, well, there you go. Light up cards. All right. Anyway, so because Onstage is going to be in my own backyard, I thought it might be kind of cool to do a tips and tricks video, just some different info. I know when I have gone to different Onstages and different events in other cities, there's stuff that I would have liked to have known. So I kind of wanted to share some of my own insights with you guys. Keep in mind, this is my own personal opinion. It's not supported by Stampin' Up! And, I mean, everybody has a different opinion of what their ideal vacation looks like and what they want to do when you're in town. Really, there's something for everybody here. It's such a wonderful city, and Florida is just a great place to come and vacation. So if you aren't able to make Onstage, hopefully you can come and visit us sometime soon. We love our tourists. So I just wanted to kind of run through things. I've sectioned this talk out into focusing on just iDrive, that is International Drive. It's the area where the convention center is and where our Stampin' Up's hotels are. Talking about some of the big parks, our top ones. And then also talking about, my sheet here, some additional parks and some different just general Orlando need to know stuff. If you stay till the end of the video, I actually was recently on iDrive eating dinner with some friends, and I did just kind of a video just as I was driving by. So I do have at the very end a drive-by video. It's in my car. It's not very good. I was trying to be a safe driver and still video. It's not my best work, but it can kind of give you an idea of just how much is crammed into that area. So first off, let's talk about iDrive, also known as International Drive. We abbreviate it because saying International Drive all the time is kind of a mouthful. But honestly, there is so much crammed into this street. It's a very touristy area, so do keep in mind that you are not going to be the only tourist there, but also a lot of the locals come because there's a lot of really good different attractions and restaurants and things there. While I'm going to talk about the big parks in a minute, I did want to mention there's a lot of stuff on iDrive, short drive, or even walking distance, depending on where your hotel is, to just all kinds of fun, like little day trips or activity things that you could do with your team while you're in town. Some of the more notable ones, which you will notice when driving by, is the Orlando Eye. It's actually a newer attraction we have. It's very similar to the London Eye. It's actually the same company. So it's a giant Ferris wheel. It's big. It's hard to miss. So that is a really kind of a fun, easy ride and a good thing to do with teams. Associated with that is a wax museum and a cute little aquarium. So really good discount tickets to all three or one or two of those. Also on International Drive, I really love doing these, and this would be a really fun activity to do with team members, is escape rooms. There's at least 3 different companies on iDrive. I've done 2 of them. They're all pretty much the same. But if you're not familiar with an escape room, the idea is it's a themed room with lots of little mini puzzles that you have to solve to escape whatever the scenario is. For those that are claustrophobic, it is not a literal locked room for safety and liability reasons. It is a fictional locked room, so if you do have to go to the bathroom or something, you're not literally locked in. But they're really fun. They all are only about an hour, so it's kind of a really fun team activity. Also, off iDrive, there is a giant building. It is upside down. It is hard to miss because not many buildings literally are built upside down, and you'll see in the video. It's pretty cool looking, and that is Wonderworks. And I would kind of equate that to kind of like like a science center slash fun activity museum type of thing. It's kind of its own thing, but it's got a lot of fun, like little mini activities. There's some science in there, and there's just kind of like fun things like wind tunnels and mirrors and all kinds of stuff. There's also, I think, laser tag on the top floor and like a ropes course and like a magic show dinner thing. Anyway, so it's a really cool family fun, all-inclusive location. There's also a Ripley's Believe It or Not on that street as well. Additional other small things, there is a putt-putt course. You'll see it on the video. It's Pirates Cove. It's themed pirates, and it's a pretty substantial one. I haven't actually done it, but it's putt-putt. So that's another fun possible team activity. There's a really good bowling alley off iDrive. It's King's Bowl. I actually had a birthday party at there. It's a really nice one, kind of an older theming to it, like 60s, 70s decor, but it's a really good bowling alley. There's the giant IMAX movie theater, and when I say giant, I'm talking like 3-story screen. I don't know what's going to be playing at the time of Onstage, but it's a really cool experience if there's a really cool action movie or something you want to see. It's really cool, and that's not far at all from the convention center. Also, there's a fun spot. It's got little go-karts, stuff like that. Okay, so just some of the little things that are around. There's also some museums, some dinner theater. There's like a Titanic exhibit. Yeah, I'm not going to get them all, but there's lots of like little things. So don't feel like you have to go to the bigger parks to still have fun and enjoy Orlando. There's lots of little fun amusements and different things you can do with your team, not far from Convention Center. I can just take up a little time. Additionally, some people, their ideal vacation includes shopping. And Orlando does have some good shopping for those that are looking for outlets. There's outlet on iDrive, just down from the convention center, not far drive at all. So for your name brands, and it is one of those more outdoor style outlets where all the stores are connected, but you have to literally walk outside to go one to the next. If you're looking for more upscale shopping, the Mall of Millennia is also not that far at all from iDrive, and it's got your Macy's, your Nordstrom, your Tiffany's. So depending on your budget and what a souvenir looks like to you, that may be one of your stops. And also, I know a lot of demonstrators are always looking for different hacks and different ways to organize their craft rooms. I know mine is a disaster zone behind me right now, so it is not a good example of this. But for those that may not have an IKEA at home, we do have an IKEA, and that is also not very far from the convention center as well. If going to IKEA seems overwhelming to you, which it can be, you need good shoes for that store, it's huge, then you might want to consider the Container Store. It's owned by IKEA. It's the same, it's just scaled down, a smaller store. It's just the storage end of IKEA, so things for drawers and cabinets, so without the big furniture pieces. So that might be a little more manageable if that's something that you would like to do. Other thing that comes up a lot of times when everybody is looking at travel is restaurants. And there are so many restaurants that I drive, guys, like you just don't even know. So I can give you a couple that I would recommend, but really I have not even been to all of them. I don't know anybody who has. My best recommendation is there is an app called Yelp, Y-E-L-P. You can get it for your phones, or you can look it up online. It's user-sourced reviews for different restaurants, and because it's a high tourist area, they have a lot of feedback on there from all the people visiting. So you can look up what kind of restaurant you're interested in by price and by type of food, that kind of thing. I would also recommend another one called Open Table. Just as it sounds, Open Table, that will do reservations. So some of the nicer restaurants, you may want to do a reservation, and that you can just do easily through the app. So just wanted to mention those. So I'm going to do 3 tiers for you guys, just cheap, middle, and, you know, really nice. So For those that are trying to stay on a budget, or, you know, just really trying to do on the cheap, I would definitely recommend doing McDonald's. There's actually supposedly the world's largest McDonald's. I don't know if it still technically is, off of iDrive. So if that's something you might be interested in. And then also, I really like buffets, especially if you're trying to get together with a big group, you know, maybe team members from out of town, and everybody's got different budgets. You know, a buffet is a really nice way to go, and you don't have to wait on everybody getting their meal. So CC's is all you can eat pizza buffet. That's pretty good, and it's not top tier pizza, but it's okay. So that would be my cheap, you know, budget conscious tier. Middle of the road, there's a lot that's middle of the road. I really like BJ's. It's not abbreviated for anything. It's just B as in blue, J as in jeans. It's really good American, a little everything. Yet again, if you are doing with a big group, definitely recommend the buffet because, as I said before, so there's a Golden Corral, which is just kind of an all-you-can-eat, a little bit of everything buffet, so it's not just pizza, but that costs a little more because they've got more on it, including a chocolate fountain last I looked. If you're looking for something that's more local to the area and unique, there's a lot. But one that I think is really kind of cool is called Cafe Tutu Tango. It's tapas style, so it's lots of small meals, so it's as expensive as you want it to be depending on how much you want to order. But it's got a lot of local art hanging on the walls. They tend to have different musicians at different times coming in. It's smaller, so you're probably going to want to make a reservation, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for a big group because they don't have the bigger spaces. And then another one that's kind of a good middle tier is Red Robin's, really good burgers, some shakes, that kind of thing. So if you were looking for date night, like fancy, you know, might want to wear something a little, you know, nicer than church clothes, I would recommend, these are my top two, and we've gone there for special occasions a couple times, and there's more than these, but we really love Fishbones for seafood, and it's got good steaks too, but it's really good. Now this is Fishbones, not Bone Fish. Those are two totally different restaurants, which is really weird that we have two that are, but anyway, some people like them both. I just like the one. And then the other one is Vito's Chop House, which is Italian style steaks. It's really good. It's one of our anniversary spots. So those would be my top two. But I mean, as I said, there are so many restaurants, like you guys just don't understand. So there will be something for everybody and a lot of things within walking distance. But some I know may be taking rental cars, but there's also Uber and Lyft that are very active in those areas. And they also do have a trolley. I don't know the hours and the cost of the trolley that goes up and down iDrive, but it does exist. It's something you can easily look. And a lot of the hotels, depending where you're staying, will have shuttles to some of the key areas. They'll have shuttles to the big parks. They'll have shuttles, probably, I would guess, depending on the hotel, to like the shopping, like the outlets, stuff like that. So do check with your individual hotels. But a lot of the stuff on iDrive is really short drives. It's only like maybe 5 minutes. But do keep in mind that you're not the only tourist there. So there's going to be a lot of people not paying attention where they're going. So just add a little extra time on your departure, and just be conscious of other drivers and the pedestrians too. Pedestrians do have the right of way of Florida, and some of them will take it. So you kind of have to be aware of everybody when you're driving on iDrive. It's just one of those areas. So just do give yourself a little extra time when you're leaving, especially if you're driving in more busy hours of the day, you know, those morning hours and evening rush hour. Okay, so big parks. Other people, when they are coming to Orlando, their idea of a vacation is the big parks. And I'm talking Disney, Universal, or for some they count SeaWorld in our big parks realm. But generally it's Disney or Universal for most. So I'm not going to talk too much about Disney. I'm going to actually try to poke another demonstrator that actually works for Disney to give some good insights on Disney. I'll just give a few things. So for Disney, Disney is not just one park. It is broken up into multiple parks. There's Magic Kingdom, Epcot, which I will see some of you at Center Stage, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. There's the water parks. There's the Disney Springs. There's all the Disney resorts and restaurants and hotels. Disney, it's its own whole thing. And I feel like one of the things people don't realize is that Disney is its own city, like Buena Vista area. And it's not particularly close to Orlando. It's not a far drive. It's only maybe like 45 minutes, but it's not like the 5 minutes away that some people tend to think. So if you are staying at one of the Disney resorts, do Google how long it's going to take you to get to the convention center. I'd hate for anybody to be late because they thought it was like 5 minutes away, because it's not. And also count traffic in that. So with any of the Disney parks, and there's so much, and there's so much you could talk about with Disney, my main things I would say is don't expect to be able to do everything, because even in one park there's so much to do. It's hard to do it all, so don't beat yourself up, but do try to kind of hit the highlights that you want to hit. There's fast passes and different things that you can do to make sure you hit your favorites, but just don't set that expectation for yourself, because it really is. I mean, I've been living here for years and I still haven't done everything. So keep that in mind. Also you're not the only one there. There are lines. I guess in Orlando, with all the parks, we're kind of used to waiting in lines, but you guys might not be. So as you're planning your trip to any of the big parks, do kind of calculate lines in that. Now Disney is pretty good, and actually pretty much all of them are now. They used to not be, with telling you what the current wait time is. That's not generally an exaggeration. They've gotten pretty good with the wait times, so you can kind of pick and choose, but also because of those wait times, that's part of why it's hard to do all of the rides and all of the things that you may want to do. So just be aware that exists, be patient, and just be prepared. Other thing, with any of the big parks or with any of the different attractions you might want to visit, we are closer to the equator than some. So while it is going to be November, it's still going to be kind of warm. So you can kind of expect, I mean, I haven't looked at the weather report recently, but you're probably looking at, highs around the 80s. Might dip down to the 70s, but I wouldn't hold your breath on it. So, light jacket weather, possibly. We can estimate closer to time, but you're not going to be needing heavy sweaters, and especially if you're outside waiting in lines, you want to dress for the warmer weather, bring a water bottle, that kind of thing. So just be aware, we are a hotter climate. Dress appropriately. I don't want anybody getting too hot. Although I do know Center Stage is starting generally in the evening, so it won't be too bad. It should be past that hotter hour. Okay, so besides Disney, which as I said, I'm hoping we can talk more about Disney later, but one other thing with Disney, two other things. Okay, for those that want like a taste of Disney without the full price of Disney, you can actually go to Disney Springs. Now this is an area outside of the parks. They have restaurants, different stores. You can buy Disney merchandise and things like that. You do not have to pay for parking, but it gives you a good taste of Disney without having to be on an actual park property. And there's a bunch of stuff at Disney Springs, so you can check that out. Some good restaurants, some different fun activities, that kind of thing. So that's kind of one suggestion. Also, if you're staying at any of the Disney resorts, there's actually a really cool monorail system that goes through everything. So actually just riding the monorail is kind of cool. You don't have to pay to get on it. You just have to pay to park at whichever resort you're at, or if you're going to one of the theme parks, you pay for parking there. But you can ride the monorail, and right now everything should be kind of decorated for Christmas. So a lot of the hotels are really cool. So just because you're staying at one doesn't mean you can't go visit some of the others and do, you know, dinner at a different one. All right, so that's enough for Disney for now. Also, well, I guess I probably should take this off. I'm going to talk about other parks in Disney, but ooh, crazy hair. So the other big one we have is Universal. So Universal is broken up into Universal Studios proper and then Islands of Adventure. They are two separate parks, but they are smack next to each other. Their biggest attraction is the Harry Potter themed areas. If you want to see all of it, you need to get tickets to both parks. There's a really cool train that connects both, but they actually have split the Harry Potter world into two. So the castle is in Islands of Adventure, but Hogsmeade is in Universal Studios. So a lot of really cool stuff out there. Similar to Disney, if you want just a taste of Universal without actually going to the parks, there's an area you have to walk through to get to the parks called City Walk. Similar to Disney Springs, it's got the stores you can buy stuff in, a lot of really good restaurants. I recommend Cowfish, sushi and burgers. So it kind of, you know, and it has a lot of nightlife there. It's really known for its nightlife. Disney Springs has some as well. Between all of the big parks, Universal is actually the closest one to iDrive. I know everybody thinks Disney is just close to everything, but it's really not. Universal's the closest to iDrive, followed by SeaWorld, and then you're getting to Disney, because Disney, as I said, is its own city. So yeah, another really awesome park to go to. So SeaWorld is another one that's really, really awesome. Tends to get overlooked, but is a really great park, especially for those that have appreciation for sea life. If you want to go see Shamu and the dolphins and the penguins and just all, it's really well done. And they have a wonderful conservation effort. It's a really awesome park. So that's another really good one to check out. Right. And then following up on my big parks, I think the other one that people tend to think about is Busch Gardens, which I think somebody had mentioned in one of the groups. Busch Gardens is in Tampa. That is a good hour and a half away, depending on traffic, from downtown. So it's also a little bit of a drive if you wanted to go do that. But that one's, you know, for the roller coasters and such. Other than that, outside of our big parks, there's even more. I mean, there's so much in Florida to enjoy and do. We've got Kennedy Space Center off on the coast. We've got our gorgeous beaches if you're a beach goer. If you've got little kids that love Legos, we've got Legoland, which is further south. If you're really into like glass and like our stained glass paper, wanted to see a really cool museum, there's the Morse Museum in Winter Park that has really pretty stained glass. It's kind of a fun little museum. So I mean, there's just really so much, and it's really hard to even adequately describe it all, but there really is something for everybody. And I did just kind of wanted to mention some of those things just to kind of give you guys a heads up that this may be your first time visiting our city. A couple other quick things. I'm talking so fast, I'm getting thirsty. So if you're not renting a car, we do have Uber and Lyft, two of the like taxi services that you can get rides. There will probably be other demonstrators that may have rental cars, that may be staying at your hotel. Make some friends, save some money, you know, ride share. So that's my suggestion. But I will mention, if you're in big tourist areas, you're going to have traffic. So do add that to your time wherever you're going. That, you know, it's just what we're used to, but you might not be. So just kind of expect for that traffic, expect for those delays, and then you won't be stressed about making things on time. If you are traveling on I-4 is kind of our main road. It splits right through Orlando, and it is confusing and under construction right now. It's a mess. So two things I wanted to let you guys know about I-4. It's really confusing in downtown Orlando area because instead of listing as north and south, it's listed as east to west. It is that way because the road does kind of a giant S through the whole state. So if you're looking at it on a map, yeah, it is technically going, you know, east and west. But in the area of, you know, right in the center Orlando, it's going north and south. We just don't change that. So if you're driving on that and you're trying to go north, then you want to go on the east. And if you're trying to go south, you want to go westbound. There's also a lot of really good signs for both the parks and for like the main cities. So if you're not sure if you're going the right way and you see a sign that says, you're trying to get to Kennedy Space Center and you see a sign that says, Daytona Beach and it's the general area, you're probably heading in the right direction. So also there's a ton of construction on it right now. It can be kind of confusing with GPS. There's a section like right outside of the main city that the GPS doesn't even recognize the road because they moved the road. Yeah. So just kind of keep in mind, it's kind of a mess right now. Give yourself a little extra time if you have to go through that. There's other ways around. It's still probably going to be your more direct route to some locations. But just kind of keep that in mind that, the east and west, north and south, and it's construction and it's a major highway. It's busy. Other thing is we do have a toll road, so you can actually get like the sensor for your car. Some of the rental cars actually already have them and they'll calculate that into your bill. Or you can go through the coin toll slot, but just that's the 417. So just depending, your GPS should say tolls versus not tolls. But just keep in mind, there's traffic. It's a big city. But I hope that some of my, talking and rambling on can benefit you in your trip and travel. Stay tuned if you want to actually see the drive-by of iDrive. I actually start at the Rosen on one side of the convention center and then go all the way to the light where I have to turn to get on I-4. If I kept going, we'd be going to the outlets. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of a feel of just how much is crammed on that road and kind of the pacing. But really you can't even see everything. There's just so much. So I'll be talking a little bit while we do that. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was beneficial. Thanks for watching and I will see you guys at Onstage. Bye. Okay, so we're going to start our tour. This is the south end of iDrive, just past the convention center. Everything's going to be on the left here in a minute. That's one of the big crosswalks for one of the big parking lots to the right. Now on the left, the first thing we're going to come across is the Rosen Center Hotel. The two Rosen hotels that Stampin' Up! Had the reservations with, so there it is right there. Are on either side of the convention center. So that's the Rosen Center Hotel. And then right next to it, smack next to it, this is all the convention center to the left. It's huge. It's really hard to see how big it is because I'm on the opposite side of the street. There's a nice median there. But it is huge. But I'm sure there'll be signs. You can kind of see a little bit of that walkway in the background, and this is the next of the Rosen hotels, that Rosen Plaza that some people are staying at as well. Yet again, this is not the best quality of video I've done. As I said, I'm just trying to be a safe driver and just kind of hold it. To the right over here is the Point Orlando area. There's a lot of really good restaurants in there. If you were interested in that giant movie theater I mentioned, the 3-story screen, that's in this area right here, the Regal. Not a lot of shopping right in the Point Orlando area. It's mainly a lot of restaurants, generally mid to upper tier price-wise. There's a big parking garage right here for both Point Orlando area and some of these smaller amusements. So right here, I'm at a red light, so I'm just panning to see if there was anything else you can see. There's a lot of trees, so it's good to have an idea where you're going, just because you may not be able to see the sign right away. But this right in front of me, that is the WonderWorks building. I said it's upside down, and it is designed upside down. It's really, really cool. You can see they've even got the palm trees hanging upside down. So I sped up the video a little bit because I'm at this red light for a minute or two. So the people don't generally walk this fast. But yeah, as you can see, there's just a bunch crammed in here. Now, once the light turns green in a minute, we're about to pass a whole nother cluster of things really quickly. This includes, there's an indoor skydiving place. No, I have not tried it, but I've heard good things. That's coming up here on the right. There's a lot crammed in here on the right. There's the skydiving place. There's also an ice bar if you're into that, where they have like the drinks are in like frozen ice cube style glasses. I've heard it's pretty cool. They give you a jacket when you walk in. Yet again, example of walkers having that right of way. There's a helicopter tour over there. So there was no light for them, but you just have to be aware and give them the right of way and stop. Walgreens, corner store. Yeah, you can just see just how many things just crammed in here really tightly. There's restaurants and things kind of behind as well. Okay, yeah, just a lot. Now you'll see up ahead the Orlando Eye, just kind of peeking in ahead. We're about to pass that here in a minute. And there's also the putt-putt place that I mentioned. We're passing the Pirates Cove right there. Very nice pirate theming. So there's that Orlando Eye. It's an enclosed Ferris wheel ride, so it's not open air. It's air conditioned, and there's even a few seats. There's one of those amusements where they swing you around in the air, that giant blue thing right there. And the plaza and area around the Orlando Eye also has a fair amount of restaurants as well. Kind of a nice open courtyard right in front of it, so it's very picturesque. And yet again, another light, big intersection. But you'll also see there's a lot of like signs. So there's this little green sign here to the right. So not everything is right on the road. Some things are behind. So that's also showing some of the restaurants and things that are just off the road. We are moving again. So you can see a little bit better shot of that Orlando Eye, and the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum and the Sea Life Aquarium are connected with that, and just a lot of restaurants right in there. Yes. There's also that King's Bowling place back in there. There's also a Sleuth Mystery Dinner Theater back in that area as well. Here's the Ripley's Believe It or Not building. There's one of those escape rooms right there with the big lock in front. Now, if you are looking to turn on I-4, you can kind of use that American flag as a good sign that you need to get over in the left-hand lane. Now, the video is about to end here in a second, but because I'm going to turn on I-4, but if I wanted to keep going to the outlets and such, I would just be going straight. Hope you guys like this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.